Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I've had a little bit of computer issues tonight, so if I happen to disappear for a few days, it might be computer related, but I hope that's not going to happen. Anyway, it just kept messing up when I was trying to make a video for my patrons, and so I don't know really what's going on. I need to work on it and try to figure out exactly what the deal is, but it could possibly be the hard drive trying to give up the ghost. I don't know. We're going to see. Anyway, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to try to keep it fairly short on this one because I don't know how the editing's going to work because that program kept freezing up on me. So let's just try this and see what happens. This is one of the last things that Chuck Grassley did before he stepped down from being the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. And Lindsey Graham has now taken that position. He's still a senator. He still has 2 more years on his term. And he is busy because now he's the Senate President pro tem, which means when the Vice President isn't there, he steps in and he runs the Senate, okay? So anyway, this is quite a thing that he left. I mean, he's really been focused on whistleblowers and doing investigations, and I've got to tell you that there's been a lot of investigations going on that we, the people, haven't known about. They've just been in Congress, and of course our media is not reporting on them. So this is one that I'd like to show you because, wow, the more you read his report, the angrier you're going to get. Following a nearly 4-year investigation that included reports from more than 100 current and former employees at the US Marshal Service, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley today, and this was, I believe, it says January 3rd, but his report's dated the 21st of December, released a memo summarizing findings of a culture of notice, it's a culture of misconduct by senior agency officials. So this is inherent in these organizations. And this is the US Marshals. Kind of an important organization, wouldn't you say? The alleged wrongdoing includes inappropriate hiring practices and nepotism, the misuse of funds for lavish office furnishings, ethics violations, lax accountability, and poor management that resulted in thousands of employees, thousands, working with expired or nearly expired body armor. I mean, serious, kind of an important thing here, right? Thousands of employees had this faulty body armor. Really crazy. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all of this because, again, I'm trying to keep it short. But the 21-page memo and the accompanying 400-plus pages of exhibits highlights numerous accountability failures by high-ranking officials, including wasteful spending on lavish office furnishings, contracts, and costly but rarely used facilities, inappropriate hiring practices such as favoritism and nepotism, the use of subordinates to fill out applications for senior executive service positions, the use of paid and unpaid leave to allow for full retirement benefits of individuals facing substantiated claims of misconduct, insufficient sanctions for the foregoing of a judge's signature on hundreds of subpoenas. That one, oh, I'll show you in a minute. Insufficient sanctions for sexual harassment and solicitation of prostitutes. Yeah, using our dime there. Mismanagement of critical safety equipment that left operational employees with expired body armor, and I talked about that actually in a previous video. Whistleblower retaliation. He was really big on helping whistleblowers, and I have a video on that about Chuck Grassley. They called him the patron saint of whistleblowers. Lack of candor to federal investigators and misleading, erroneous, and incomplete responses to Congress. And then it goes on with some of the recommendations. But this whole report is like huge, okay? And the report came out December 21st. That's why I said it's kind of weird that they said it came out today, but it wasn't. That press release was dated the 3rd, and then this was dated December 21st. So, I don't know. I don't get how it works. But anyway, look at what this says. That it was The committee began investigating allegations of wrongdoing at the US Marshal Service approximately 3 years ago. Throughout the investigation, the committee identified a culture, there's that word again, a culture of mismanagement, reckless spending, favoritism, and a general lack of accountability at the Marshal Service. In what has been described by whistleblowers as a frat style of management, senior officials appear to act with impunity while lower-level employees are held to a strident standard. According to the more than 100 current and former employees who have contacted the committee since early 2015, the actions of managers have a demoralizing effect on the brave men and women of the Marshal Service and thus tend to undermine the public's trust in America's oldest law enforcement agency. If you go through this, you can see some of the things that they were talking about. This one is like a $22,000 conference table. And how about this speechwriter who received contracts totaling over $1 million? I'm in the wrong business. I need to write speeches. Anyway, and it also found that they had this assets forfeiture fund, and they were using it kind of for whatever they wanted to use it for. The assets that they had gotten that had to be forfeited from criminals, so they were using this for all kinds of stuff that they weren't supposed to be using it for. And they got this training facility in Texas that was like big time bucks that they were using it for, and it was hardly ever used. So again, I'm not going to go through all this, but oh my goodness, you just want to scream when you start reading it, going, holy cow, these people are just doing this with our money. They should not be in charge of any money whatsoever. This building, $50,000 per year for that building in Texas, and it wasn't even used. I mean, it was just like, really, seriously, and that they underestimated the monies that they were allocating for different things. They were using the asset forfeiture for salaries, which they weren't supposed to be doing. They could use it for salaries of people that actually were full-time working with the asset forfeitures, but they couldn't use it for people that weren't full-time doing that. And that's what they were doing. So they were using it for all kinds of stuff. Now let me go down here to page 8. I want to just show you something that I found down there. So one more page here. This is in typical Grassley style. He pulls no punches and he says, this is what they did wrong, this is what they did wrong, this is what they did wrong. So it is typical Chuck Grassley here. A case in point is the USMS response to the issuance of fraudulent subpoenas by a task force based in the Southern District of Indiana. Now, of course, Indiana caught my eye there. I had to look to see what it was. A 2007 OIG investigation prompted by reports from a whistleblower uncovered evidence that a USMS task force there had been routinely customizing an electronic subpoena template and pasting in a digital image of a local judge's signature obtained from legitimate court documents in order to give the appearance of official judicial approval. They forged a judge's signature on subpoenas. The OIG found that between the years 1995 and 2005, approximately 800 fraudulent subpoenas had been served by the task force. That's in my state. Fortunately, it's in the south and it's not up here in the north, but wow. I mean, really, guys? I can't believe that. You're forging a judge's signature. People need to be arrested for doing that. Isn't that what happens when you forge somebody's signature? So what happened? Well, in response to an inquiry from the committee about disciplinary administrative actions taken, the agency explained that one supervisory deputy U.S. Marshal who was involved received a letter of reprimand. Oh goodness, he got a letter of reprimand for forging a judge's signature on 800 subpoenas. Oh gosh. That person was later promoted to the position of GS-14 Supervisory Criminal Investigator. Oh yes, let's put a letter of reprimand in his file and then promote him for forging a judge's signature. Oh, can you believe it? I mean, serious, what's going on in our country? Two involved personnel retired after the OIG report was completed, but before any potential disciplinary action. And two others retired without discipline being imposed after a panel did not substantiate allegations against them. One of the latter received a promotion prior to his retirement. Oh my goodness. This is the type of thing that Trump's people are working against. Now, remember, when they said there were 800,000 government workers who were not being paid, remember, 3/4 of the government was funded. That is only 1/4 of all of the government, and those were the people that were non-essential who were working. 1/4 of our government. Wow. So this is why I know for a fact that Trump is working. I know for a fact because he said it in the different meetings. He wants his cabinet members to make big reductions in their departments. I understand that there is going to be a big riff. It's just not going to be associated with the government shutdown. Okay, they have to be two separate things. They can do the riffing, but it's going to have to be separate from the shutdown itself. That's a different type of furlough. And so, again, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It is going to happen. But there's a timing issue, too. And it really has to be something that comes after we get this wall thing taken care of. The next 3 weeks are going to be interesting because Trump has lobbed the ball back into their court. And so the Democrats now have to do something about it. If they don't, it's going to be so obvious to everyone that they're the ones causing the problem, and it's not Trump. And here's one with sexual misconduct on a detail. They solicited prostitutes while on detail in Mexico and brought them to a taxpayer-funded apartment. Yeah. Oh, just the more you read of this, the angrier it will make you. I'm serious. It's all about it. It really just goes on and on and on. And then, this is 430 pages because his memo itself is like 21. But then, the rest of it is evidence. Now, I'm going to just skip way down here to the bottom. And on page 426, give me a minute. There we are. Okay, this is from the Federal Managers Association. United States Marshal Service, Chapter 373. Okay, and this was August 10th, 2017, when he wrote this to Chuck Grassley. Now, he was talking about how, yes, they've got all these things going on. We had the whistleblowers. We know that some of them were retaliated against for blowing the whistle on the corruption. And then down here he says, the latest method by USMS agency leadership to silence agency managers who communicate with Congress is outlined in a letter dated August 3rd from the acting director to the National Office of the Federal Managers Association, FMA. We believe the letter was designated to undermine and have a chilling effect on the viewpoints of our officers and membership, all federal employees organized to improve government operations and save taxpayer dollars. Regrettably, the acting director did not first discuss his concerns with me or our officers before his staff presumably penned this letter. I have enclosed it for your review. And it is down here at the very end. You can read it. I think it just kind of, it's not real obvious what he's saying, but Local Chapter 373 has been in existence for more than 10 years, and until recently, USMS leadership has had a cordial consultative relationship with the FMA chapter, to include periodic meetings to discuss issues of interest or concern to its members. We have viewed that relationship as mutually beneficial and collaborative, working for the benefit of the agency and its employees and managers. However, recent events have prompted me to question whether continued interaction with the FMA will be worthwhile. Specifically, since May 2017, there have been several widely disseminated emails sent and outside meetings held under the auspices of the FMA local chapter, which appear to be designated to undermine significant agency initiatives and to further the personal agenda of certain FMA local officers or officers. We view these efforts to be contrary to the purpose of any positive consultative relationship or the mutual benefit of the USMS and those employees who are members of the FMA local chapter. As such, we question whether any continuing relationship with FMA is viable. Basically, that was telling this guy, you're trying to do oversight and we don't like it. So we're questioning it. It was a very negative letter. It really was. So anyway, that was the letter that he included. You can read through the rest of his letter here, which is kind of long. That's the whole thing. It's 430 pages long. I did not read all of it. But I will put the links down below. You can look at them and see what they have to say. Oh, wow. Things were going on. This Grassley, the more I find out about him, the more impressed I am by this man because he was taking on some major stuff. This has all been going on for 2, 3, 4 years, and we didn't know anything about it. Chuck Grassley was in there fighting for us. And so a lot of times I think our senators and our representatives are doing things that we're not aware of. And they're really fighting for we the people, or they're not fighting for us and they need to hear about that. So keep track of what your representative and your senators are doing. Make sure that you let them know when there's something important that they're making decisions on. Please let them know. It can make a difference. And you can always find out how to contact them by going to senate.gov for the senators and house.gov for the House of Representatives. And there's easy ways there that you can find about your particular senator or representative, and then you can contact them usually through a web form. I think it's really a good thing to let senators and representatives know, even if they are not representing you, that you can still let them know that you're behind what they're doing, because Chuck Grassley has done a lot for all the people of the United States, not just for the people in Iowa. So before I go, I'd like to ask you to click that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can get those notifications, because I have a birthday coming up in April, and as a birthday present, I'm really hoping to reach 60,000 subscribers by then. So you can help me out. It would really make my birthday wonderful if I could have 60,000 subscribers on that day. It's going to be tough. There's not a lot of days left, but we can do it, right? So I want to thank you again for stopping by, and I'll see you all later.